Oh, this is uncomfortable. We supposed to hug and kiss, or what are we doing here?
I hope not. We're joined by Coach Izzo and Coach Krzyzewski, and we'll go right to it right here.
For both coaches, Noah Trister from Associated Press, you both have key players who have struggled from the free throw line at times. How do you sort of coach kids through something like that? Is it mostly mechanical? Do you have to balance that with keeping the kids' confidence up? How do you sort of approach
Coach
it?
Krzyzewski, we'll start with you.
I think it's both. You know, it can start mechanical and end up being mental, or start mental and be mechanical, and each kid's different. So, and the bottom line is some kids can shoot better than others. So everyone who says the free throw is an easy shot, that you're assuming that everyone's a good shot. It's not. It's a hard shot, especially hard shot in front of 70,000 people.
Well, I think in our case, you know, we had some problems early in it, and then, as Mike just said, it went from a couple guys missing them, and then became an epidemic a little bit, and that means it was more mental. But we've worked our way through it in different ways. You know, we worked on it. We begged them. We threatened them. We prayed with them. We did everything, you know. And I think at the end of the day, Judd Heathcote once told me that if you get the right guys to the line, you'll shoot better. I don't think we have that opportunity or option all the time, but it's something I'm really not worried about. We've dealt with it. We are what we are, and we'll go from there.
Right here.
Nicole Auerbach, USA Today. For both of you, you both have had players who've been there for 4 years and become cornerstone of the program kind of guys over your career. Is it possible to have an impact in 1 year, in the current state of the game, for a guy who's only in a program 1 year, to leave a legacy, leave an impact, be kind of one of those guys?
Coach Izzo, we'll start with you.
Well, I think you can still have an impact, but I was telling Mike earlier, you know, Quinn Cook, for me, you just appreciate him because we got a chance, meaning not there every day, to watch a kid grow throughout the years. For Travis Trice, for me, I got a chance to do it from the inside looking out. But I think this day and age, there's some pretty impactful freshmen. You know, times have changed a little bit. I still think they can make an impact. I don't think we always appreciate it as much because we want them there longer, meaning fans, media, and everybody else. But yeah, I still think they can have an impact.
Coach Krzyzewski.
Yeah, well, they have. You know, like our kids have had, they're regional champs. And I do think, though, that it helps them tremendously to have at least one upperclassman who is a key player, not just upperclassmen who are on the team. And in this case, Quinn has helped these guys. I also believe that a lot of the young kids who are exposed to USA basketball come in a lot more mature than the normal freshmen. They're just exposed to more teamwork, different roles, more a sense of reality than they are when they come from their regular high school programs.
Right here.
JB Ricks with Time Warner Cable News. This question is for both coaches. I'm curious to know, you both have experience bringing teams to the Final Four, but there seemed to be a relief for your team, Coach K, because you were expected to get here, and Coach Izzo, there was just, you know, extra jubilation for your team after being the underdog. How much of a challenge, or how much more of a challenge was it to get your guys refocused on the fact that there's still 2 more games to play compared to previous Final Fours that you've been able to achieve?
Mike, we'll start with you.
Well, I don't know who expected us to be here. You know, we have 8 guys and 4 freshmen. So I think at times you expect a program to be here instead of looking at a team and saying, boy, they should be here. But our guys deserve to be here, just like Tom's kids. They deserve because they've earned it. And then this is all new. You know, it's not about what either of us have done in the past with our teams. It's about what we're doing with this group, and to give their time and make sure they have their moment. And yeah, he and I have talked about this a lot over the years. It's about being in the kids' moment, not being in our moment.
Tom?
And I think that, you know, for us, because maybe it wasn't as expected, we had a little rougher run during the year, but when he says about a program, when you get your program to a certain level, I think everybody you know, that's our expectations. That's what we want our kids' expectations are, and that's sometimes what media and fans. But at the same time, getting them ready is no different because we've had a lot of battles throughout the year. I mean, we played Duke second game of the year. We played Kansas. We played Notre Dame. We played in our league. So there's so many big games, and you hope that kids aren't satisfied until they get to the ultimate goal. I think that's why they choose places that have been there before, because that's what they want in their own mind.
Over here.
Earl Arms, WDJT out of Milwaukee. This question is for Coach Krzyzewski. Now, you won your first national championship, I believe, here in Indianapolis. In order to do that, though, you got past the team, I think that was the last undefeated team to get to this point, UNLV. What do you remember from that matchup, and what made your team successful in that matchup? And from the outside looking in, do you see any parallels between Kentucky and Wisconsin this year?
Mike.
It's a lot. Jeez, if I should have taken notes. I do remember we won our first national championship here. I will always remember it, and I still think Indianapolis puts it on the best. It's remarkable how beautiful it is here and how everything is. It's as good as it gets. In that year, the thing I remember is that we had Grant Hill, and we didn't have him the year before when we lost to him to UNLV by 30. The biggest thing for me and that team was that a lot of people think that beating UNLV was the national championship, and we had to beat a great Kansas team 2 nights later. And I love that about my team, that they were able to put 2 big games together. And I haven't really watched Kentucky, Monday is not a given for either one of us. It's an earned opportunity, and I think we would both be happy to play whoever is there on Monday. So I'd rather not speak to Kentucky, although I will say this. John has done an amazing job with his group, and it's been good for college basketball in that you've been talking about a team instead of talking about freshmen or individuals. For a few years, we've gotten to be like the pros, where it's a matchup of individuals. And this year, it's a renewal of what college basketball should be. It's about teams. And Kentucky's been a great team.
Right here in the middle.
For both of you, having played back in November here in Indianapolis, as you watched film preparing for Saturday, how has the other team improved, please?
Tom, we'll start with you.
Well, I don't think there's any question they've improved like they should have because of the freshman, and he brings them along well. Again, I think it was a new position for Cook, in where he was playing and how he played, and he's grown so much. But I think some of his other guys, like a Winslow, is playing so well in this tournament, and Matt Jones has improved so much. And so I just think they're a better team. I think we're both not completely different, but I think we're a lot better than we were back then, and yet it was really good for us because we didn't know as much, although I'm not sure he did either with his freshmen. It's easy for you guys to say all these freshmen are going to pan out, but that doesn't always happen either. So I just think it was good for us. I think I learned a lot, but I think they're much better, much more improved.
Coach Krzyzewski.
Yeah, I haven't really watched that much of that game. I think we're both different teams. We'll have different strategies because we have different teams, and it's much better to watch them in the NCAA and in some of their Big Ten games. But the game helped us because that Champions Classic, actually 3 of the teams are here, which very prophetic, really, that 3 of them got here. But that's been a good deal for our programs, I think, to play that doubleheader at the start of each year.
Over here.
Matt Charbon of Detroit News. This is for Tom. You've alluded a lot of times about guys doing their job. And when you get to a point like this on this stage with a lot of other star power on these other teams, is that something you emphasize more about guys playing their role to be successful, not trying to do too much?
Coach Izzo.
Well, I do think you still got to play your role. You can't be somebody you're not, just like as coaches. I don't think we can try to change and be somebody we're not. And I think that's, if I think back to my early years and our first championship was here too in this city. There were mistakes that were made. I mean, in fact, my first Final Four, we played you down in Tampa. And, I just felt like I was still doing hotel tickets on Friday night and game tickets Saturday morning, and so you grow as a coach. And I think the same as players, you grow, but I don't think you want to try to be somebody you're not. And I don't think either one of our teams will be. I don't think we have those kind of players. There's not a big ego group here. And I thought what he said about John's team, too, is interesting because, usually the superstars are supposed to have the big egos. I don't see a lot of big egos in this tournament. In fact, probably the fewest I've seen in a lot of years.
Good point.
Right here in front.
For both coaches, Jeff Gravely, WRAL-TV in Raleigh. Back in the old days, you would win a regional. Sometimes you would leave the nets. Now you cut the nets, you get a hat, you get a trophy that looks very similar to the one that wins on Monday night. Do you like that? And how do you get your guys back into the mode of there's still a lot more to play for?
Mike, start with you.
Well, we really like it.
Yeah.
You're a champion of a region. That's, in other words, you're a Final Four team. This is my 40th year as a head coach, and starting out coaching, I always felt that if you crossed the bridge to the Final Four, you got to the promised land. And to me, the biggest win overall, besides a national championship, is a regional championship, because there's so much pressure on a coach and his staff to get there. You're judged, first of all, by the Final Four and then national championships. And so, no, it's a big deal, and I think it's pretty easy to get them on to the next thing. They want to get on to the next thing.
Well, I feel the exact same way. I think it's a memory-making moment. Championships is, whether it's beginning of the year and it's a Christmas tournament or a Thanksgiving Day, I think teams have to learn how to win championships, because that means you've done something and you've won a game, and then you got to win another game. And, the regionals kind of gives you that. I mean, you're playing elite teams at that point, and I agree. I mean, I don't think you'd win the regional if you had a team that was their goal, to just win the regional. I mean, if you're good enough to win a regional, then you don't have to get your kids up for this game. I mean, they'll be up for the game. That's the least of my worries.
Right over here.
For both Graham Couch, the Lansing State Journal, for both of you, and starting with Mike, there's an aura around your program at this point, obviously. Do you ever feel like you have teams down before the game starts because of that? And Tom, in any of your previous matchups, have your guys been affected by the fact that it was Duke as your program was coming up?
Go ahead.
No. I mean, I hate to be... Actually, I think teams are more ready for us. Certainly, during the regular season when we're on the road, it's T-shirt day or blackout day or storm. And I think in the last 18 years, we've lost like 60 games or something, and 47 of them have had storming the court. So they're not down. When they're up when they play us, because they want to beat us badly. We know we're going to play somebody who's ready. Obviously, in this competition, it doesn't matter. But in the regular season, we usually get a team's best shot.
Well, speaking of storming the court, it's a little different for me, but it took our program a while to get to that point. But I remember playing at Indiana, and when Indiana stormed the court when they beat us, and the cop was trying to get me out of there, I told him not to touch me. I wanted to sit there. I wanted to enjoy the moment that it meant that much that they beat us.
Absolutely,
it's get your hands off me. So, I think in general, though, maybe early on in your career you go through that, but the wars that we've played and the number of times, and there's a respect factor too. Respect does not mean you give in. It just means you respect what they do. We have great respect for them because of what he's done over a period of time, and I think that's where our program has gotten to too.
Right here, Jerry.
Jerry Tipton, Lexington Herald, leader for both of you guys, please. What do you think about the level of talent here in the Final Four over the four teams, and how much does it help each of those guys to show what they can do to have talented teammates?
Tom, we'll start with you.
Well, talent's a funny thing. You know, talent doesn't always win games, and talent doesn't always make you great. It gives you maybe a better opportunity if you utilize your talent, and if you are coachable and you're a good teammate. You know, this isn't boxing. It's not tennis. It's not golf. You got to be talented, but you got to be. And I think Mike alluded to it with Kentucky this year, that guys are willing to take different roles, not play as many minutes, not score as many points. So I think the more talent you have, the better it is, as long as it's talent that's coachable and talent that has a team concept in mind.
Mike?
Yeah, well, this Final Four has a lot of talent, but I think it's coordinated talent. It's talent that makes other talent better. You know, it's the piano player and the guitar player and the singer who are making each other better, not just the great piano player. And that coordinated talent is why you see 4 outstanding teams, because they're not playing against each other, they're playing with one another against somebody. And you know, this is a great Final Four. We have 4 really outstanding teams here.
Back in the back.
Dana O'Neill with ESPN. Mike, at the point you are in your career, having achieved so much, is the internal pressure you put on yourself changed? Is it increased or decreased as you sit here?
Mike?
It's the same. I still try to approach everything like I'm coaching an Army. And you know, I think that's what my players deserve. They deserve you to be hungry and prepared, and the fact that we've been able to experience a lot helps me to do a better job with my team. But if I don't have that hunger to win and also to prepare, then I'm not going to use my experience the right way. And so, yeah, Tom and I were talking about it, because each of us have a kid that's really kind of special right now, Trice and Cook. And to be able to have the moments with them, you know, this time in my career, to have those moments mean as much or more as the championship, a regional championship. Although it's because of that moment you have a regional championship. So I'm so thankful that Quinn has been there for me this year, to have a senior that I've been able to grow with, and it's helped the team a lot.
Right over here, Mike.
Mike LaPresti, NCAA.com. For both of you, this is the 40th anniversary of John Wooden's last game.
Huh.
Both of you understand how hard work it takes to get here, but looking back over time from a coach's perspective, how amazing does that remain that he was able to do it again and again and again?
Mike, we'll start with you.
Me?
Yes,
Mike.
Mike.
All right. It's an honor to answer that question first. You're really talking about one of a kind. I think most records, almost all records will be broken. His will never be broken. And especially in that time period. And everyone talks about Alcindor and Walton, but I think they accounted for 5 of his championships. And he won double that. And so he was able to adapt to and coach great talent and get them to play as one, you know, for a long time. And, you know, no one has done that to that level. You know, Coach Wooden left a tremendous legacy, and really something that's not going to be topped.
Tom?
I think you're almost a modern day Wooden, because you got 12, and I think that's what he had, isn't it? 12 Final Fours, and yet I agree to win it is that many times that he won it is incredible. But I look at, you know, I remember meeting him for the first time, and he said to me, "Welcome to the fraternity of 40." At the time, there were 40 guys that have won a national championship, and I felt really good, and 6'8", and walking around, and that I was one of 40. And Bill Walton tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Remember, John's won 10 of them." And I was about that big, you know, and it kind of humbles you. And that's what you admire about people that have had success in this tournament. You know how hard it is. I thought one thing Mike said, it's not just about being good enough. you got to be lucky. We've gotten here a couple times because teams lost. You know, one year it was Kansas who was ranked. But I will say this about just about every team in it this year. I think we've all earned our way without any major surprises, or not many major surprises, and that's been that's pretty good. And I don't know if anybody will catch them.
Back in.
Mark Tracy with the New York Times. It seems like both in the media and in the culture at large, the issue of sexual assault on campuses is a really prominent issue. The NCAA has talked about it. President Obama mentioned it in the course of filling out his bracket. I was wondering if you guys discussed that with your teams, and if so, if you find yourself doing it more than you did 10 or even 5 years ago.
Tom, we'll start with you.
Well, we definitely do on a regular basis. I mean, it's funny when something does happen on your team and one of you guys or somebody else will say, well, don't they ever talk to them about that? I bet you there's never a practice that ends that you're not saying something academically or socially to your team, or after a game or things like that. I think because of the Twitter world, there's a lot more out there, and so you're always trying to teach and coach your guys, and it just doesn't mean on the court. In fact, I think a lot of times we do more off the court than on the court, and so the answer would be yes, we do.
Mike?
Yeah, we have programs at Duke where you bring in people from the outside and also from the inside, where you not just talk to basketball players, but you talk to all the student athletes, not just about that, but about other things, but certainly about that specific thing.
We have time for two more right here.
Jessica Wimsat with the National Sports Journalism Center. My question is for Coach Izzo. Travis Trice talked a little bit about the camaraderie that this team has. What role do you think that's played on getting your team to this point?
Tom?
I think it's essential. You know, I just think you have to have a close-knit together team. I mean, we've gotten here maybe once where I didn't feel we were as close, but, you know, Magic told me something once when I first got to a Final Four. He says, you know, usually those kind of teams have something special, and it's not just talented. It is a camaraderie, a togetherness. It's kind of having each other's back, because it's hard for kids to adjust to all the pressures that you have when you go to a Final Four, and you better be close-knit and tight-knit. And I think the family atmosphere, and I know what they do, I know what we do. You know, I don't know as much what John does there, but I think it's important.
Now we'll take two more right here in front.
Fred Human, WLNS Lansing. Tom knows that. Coach K doesn't care. But you distinguished gentlemen have 19 Final Fours between you. Kind of a two-parter. Have you both learned to enjoy the ride more than you used to? And do you remember the first time you met each other? Not coaching, just met each other.
Start with you, Mike.
Well, it's always been enjoyable. Are you kidding me? I mean, this would never, ever get old. And I don't remember the first time, because Judd was he didn't like his assistants to be seen. And he just liked them working all the time. I'm not sure he even knew the names of all the assistants. Or still might not know the names. But Tom and I are great, great friends. And I love that, and I love our relationship. But this stuff will never get old.
Tom?
Well, I feel the same way. You know, even our wives got to be friends, you know, because I think they can appreciate what you go through. And even though we don't get to see each other all the time, I think that the greatest thing I have for them is respect. Respect the way it's been done, respect with the incredible sustaining of consistency. And you know, you got to learn from somebody. That doesn't mean you some people think that I care too much about, you know, what he does, and that's why we can't beat him. But I think you learn from somebody all the time, and you appreciate the things that someone's brought to the table. We were on our NABC board. My first year was just about your last, I think. But for me, it was what was in person doesn't really matter. What I watched, what I saw before I knew him, you know, and I had a lot of good friends, and we've recruited against each other, and we probably lost more than we won, but I always knew we lost it for the right reasons. So it's been mutual, and I think I'm proud that two teams are here that have that many Final Fours, because I think both would agree we've done it the way that most of you would want us to do it.
Right. Last question right here.
Aaron Beard with the Associated Press. I wanted to ask you guys about Justice Winslow, a guy that can do a lot of things well. Coach Krzyzewski, for you, what are the one or two things maybe he's really made a gain in his game this year? And for Coach Izzo, kind of what are the difficulties of matching up with a guy that can play on the perimeter or wrestle with a bigger guy, rebound, score, and all that?
Mike, start with you.
Well, first of all, he's a terrific competitor and kid, and exceptional athlete who has become, he's becoming an exceptional basketball player. And during the middle of the year, he was injured, shoulder and fractured rib, and for about 2.5 weeks was averaging about 3 points a game. But he learned to play not at 100%, and where he went on the court and was not fighting an injury, but was still competing. And we take for granted that all these kids know all those things, and they don't. Sometimes that's the first time you're injured and how you handle it. But he's become an outstanding player, and certainly in this tournament, he's been one of the key guys for us.
But I think when you look at a guy that's improved just about all his stats, free throw shooting, he's improved enormously. Rebounding, he's improved by almost 3 a game in this tournament. His three-point shooting has improved. And I think he's putting the ball on the floor better than he did early, and he hurt us a little bit then. We were matching up a little differently then, too. Our team was a little different. So it is going to be great. I mean, he's got good players at positions, but I don't think sometimes we get enough credit for the Valentine, Trices, and Dawsons. Those 3 guys are pretty good players that I think could play on a lot of teams, too. But I've enjoyed watching Winslow grow, because for some reason, I've seen his growth more, maybe because I hadn't seen him in much in high school. But his tournament run right now has been very, very good.
Thank you, coaches. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.